Turning into a battlefield, President Donald Trump is reportedly preparing military strikes against Venezuela, targeting bases tied to the booming cocaine trade there.
At 5:17 a.m., when most of the Caribbean still slept beneath a blanket of soft blue dawn, something stirred beneath the stillness. A faint tremor in the air, almost too subtle to notice, rippled through the steel belly of the United States ship Gravely. For the sailors drifting into routine, it was supposed to be another uneventful morning patrol. Instead, silence fractured. Alarms echoed down the narrow passageways, boots stuttered mid-step, and every head snapped toward the nearest console. 3 unidentified vessels had just appeared on radar, closing fast from the southwest. In the space of a heartbeat, the destroyer's combat systems lit up like a city at night. No one shouted, no one panicked, but every hand moved with a sharpened focus that only sailors on the edge of danger truly understand. Because when warships meet before sunrise, speculation alone can turn calm water into a battlefield. What happened next would ripple across Washington, Caracas, and far beyond. A moment of quiet friction that almost dragged the Caribbean into the flames. The first contact. The Gravely, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, sliced through the flat morning sea with the steady grace of a vessel designed for both violence and precision. Its crew had grown familiar with the monotonous hum of routine operations, yet beneath the calm surface of the Caribbean, geopolitical storms had been brewing for months. Inside the Combat Information Center, the first faint blip appeared on the SPY-1D radar, then a second, then a third. 3 contacts, tight together and moving at nearly 30 knots, materializing out of the southwest like shadows tearing across water. The operators exchanged tense looks. The change in the air was unmistakable, that sudden heavy quiet unique to the early moments of a potential confrontation. The report shot to the bridge, and within seconds the shipwide order echoed through every speaker. Condition 3, man all key stations. The tone was steady, but the meaning was clear. Prepare for the unknown. Red lights snapped on. Watertight doors slammed shut. Sailors sprinted into position with the discipline of muscle memory. The destroyer shifted from peaceful routine to full operational readiness in mere moments, as though the steel ship itself inhaled. Venezuelan flags on the radar. As the radar returned clearer sweeps, the silhouettes sharpened into identifiable signatures. The system tagged them as Sierra 1, Sierra 2, and Sierra 3. Moments later, confirmation appeared. Venezuelan patrol craft. These were not large ships. They were fast, agile, and built for short, sharp operations, the kind of vessels used to harass, probe, or signal. Their formation was deliberate, a V-shaped wedge cutting straight toward the U.S. destroyer. There were no missile lock-ons, no activated fire control radars, no weapons flashing hot, but the course itself sent a message louder than any transmission. They wanted to be seen, they wanted to approach, they wanted to challenge. To the Venezuelans, it was sovereignty. To the Americans, it was a test. To both sides, it was a dangerous game of inches. The calm order: hold fire. On the bridge, the captain's voice cut through the tension with practiced authority. Maintain course, observe, do not engage. It was not fear, it was strategy. In modern naval confrontations, restraint is often the most lethal skill. Sailors secured the 5-inch Mark 45 gun and activated the close-in weapon systems, but no barrels turned hot. Every weapon remained cold, every hatch sealed. Power surged through the systems, yet not a single crew member moved without reason. The destroyer drifted just 14 nautical miles from Venezuelan territorial waters, a perfectly legal position in international seas, but still close enough that every movement mattered. One officer whispered what many were thinking: "We're walking a legal tightrope." And he was right, because the United States ship Gravely wasn't there by chance. The hidden mission behind the patrol. Few outside intelligence circles knew the truth. The destroyer was taking part in Operation Sentinel South, a sweeping initiative led by U.S. Southern Command. Its purpose publicly was simple: stop drug and weapons trafficking routes flowing through the Caribbean. Privately, it was much deeper. American analysts had picked up signs of United States shipyard military advisors near Venezuelan ports. Rumors linked Iranian technicians to newly built coastal radar stations. The Caribbean was transforming into a chessboard where global powers pushed pawns into America's backyard. And just 4 days before the Gravely's encounter, a U.S. Navy helicopter had intercepted and destroyed a suspicious vessel believed to be transporting weapons and cocaine. 11 people died. Venezuela accused Washington of aggression. Washington dismissed the claim, but the psychological line had been crossed. That morning's encounter was not coincidence. It was the next move. Show presence. The Venezuelan boats closed within 5 nautical miles, the distance where things stop feeling safe and start feeling personal. The captain issued a new order: show presence. This wasn't a threat, it was posture. The Gravely's main gun slowly rotated toward the horizon. The Phalanx close-in weapon system whirred to life, its 6 barrels glowing faintly under red emergency lighting. Infrared cameras tracked every movement on the water. The message was unmistakable. The destroyer is awake, alert, and holding all options. Inside the Combat Information Center, pressure built like steam under steel. Operators whispered to themselves, hoping the approaching vessels would not force the Americans to demonstrate the firepower they carried. One young sailor muttered, "Don't make us prove it." A line spoken quietly, but heavy enough to echo through the ship. A helicopter takes the sky. At 5:19 a.m., the Gravely's MH-60R Seahawk thundered into the dark sky. Its call sign, Razor 21. As it climbed above the destroyer, sensors switched on, infrared lenses cutting through mist and dawn like a blade. The helicopter streamed live footage back to the ship. 3 boats in tight formation, racing fast, unarmed on deck, but undeniably purposeful. Razor 21 became the ship's guardian angel, a lookout that could spot intent long before radar declared it. From below, sailors watched the helicopter's silhouette sweep across the clouds. It was silent reassurance. They were not alone. A diplomatic duel at sea. Then came the moment where confrontations shift from hardware to human voice. Through loudspeakers and radio waves, the first American transmission rang out. Venezuelan naval vessels, this is a United States warship operating in international waters, alter course immediately. Seconds later came the Spanish version. Static answered, then a strained voice. You are operating close to Venezuelan territory. Identify your mission. Silence swept across both bridges. The ships now ran parallel, only 3.6 nautical miles apart, close enough to see hull colors, close enough to exchange fire, close enough for miscalculation to become catastrophe. Yet no one fired, no one escalated. They waited and watched and measured every second. Rules of engagement, the invisible shield. According to U.S. Navy rules, no weapon may fire unless the threat is unmistakable, a hostile act, or clear hostile intent. That doctrine protected the Gravely from crossing a line it could never uncross, so the destroyer tracked everything, every movement, every heat signature, every electronic emission. Data streamed in real time to U.S. Southern Command, building a perfect record of restraint. Inside the Combat Information Center, the tension settled into rhythm. Someone whispered, "Sometimes power is knowing when not to use it." And in that moment, restraint became the strongest weapon the Gravely possessed. The turnaway. At 5:34 a.m., without a final radio message, without any gesture at all, the 3 Venezuelan patrol boats slowed their engines. Their tight wedge loosened, and then, one by one, they veered east and faded into the morning haze. No fight, no shots, just a silent exit. The destroyer held course, never speeding up, never flinching. It simply watched them disappear. By sunrise, every second of the encounter had already been archived and encrypted. Analysts labeled it controlled friction, a term reserved for confrontations that brush the edges of conflict without crossing them. But intelligence officers knew it meant more. A region on the brink. Caracas had delivered a clear message. We can get close. We can test you. We are not intimidated. And after this encounter, Washington crafted its own silent response. We will increase surveillance. We will strengthen patrols. We will not be pushed back. Analysts predicted more P-8 maritime patrol aircraft, more MQ-9B drones, more destroyers, more intelligence flights. Venezuela, possibly backed by Russian or Iranian advisors, would likely continue shadowing, probing, pushing the limits. Because in the modern Caribbean, wars don't begin with missiles. They begin with who gets close enough to make a point. Next time, one wrong move could tip that balance. So if you want to stay ahead of every tense standoff, every unseen mission, and every silent move between global powers, make sure you hit that like and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next mission.